minutes.
Just an inquiry of the chair, I guess, before I ask my questions. I was wondering, is it possible, Chairman, to bring back Alejandro Mayorkas before the committee so that I realize that the impeachment process certainly was explored and failed, but it would be great to know how he sat before this committee and deceived.
Mr. Chairman, for the point of order, is the gentleman using his time, or is this a parliamentary inquiry? I'm not quite sure what's going on.
And systematically,
Yeah, his time should be running. It's 5 minutes.
Okay.
I'm just wondering if we could get the former secretary before the committee. Because he systematically opened the border to illegals from 2021 to 2025 for a purpose, I suppose, is securing some type of new political base. And Minneapolis never happens if it wasn't for Biden, Mayorkas, and the elected officials that pretended that opening the border to illegal criminals for 5 years wouldn't have to be reversed and cleaned up at some point. I just think it would be interesting if the committee could bring him back. Mr. Linehan, to my knowledge, you were the first person arrested by the UK government over tweets, but this could have happened to any American resident who uses social media to discuss politics. Isn't that right? I mean, if somebody was on their way back from the UK and suddenly arrived at Heathrow, they could be arrested too, even if they were American citizen.
I can't really speak to that, but I wasn't the first. There's been many women arrested because trans activists have reported them to the police before me. As far as America goes, I don't think they would like the publicity of arresting an American national in the UK, but we really only have that to depend on. You know, they just choose not to do it at the moment. So yeah, I think that there is a general danger of people being affected by, you know, really quite random rules on speech. Something that, like saying that there are two sexes, used to be something we all believed. I believe Mr. Raskin possibly even believed it. But nowadays, people are pretending not to believe that there are two sexes. And it's something that destroyed my whole career in life, that I insisted on the truth. So yeah, we can't rely on the kind of mood of governments being affected by incoherent liberal orthodoxies. I'm sorry, it's not a great answer to your question.
No, it's very good. Thank you. Mr. Price, why should Americans care about Graham Linehan's arrest?
I think they should care because it shows very clearly what's happening in Europe. What we're talking about is European laws now being exported by the European Union via content moderation rules across the world. That's what is going on now. So American speech is already being affected. And in my written statement, you'll see a sample of some of the really quite draconian and bizarre laws that we have in Europe when it comes to speech. So that type of legal system is now being pressed down via these digital content moderation rules into American speech. And for Graham and for Pivey, you can see very clearly that these laws aren't theoretical. They put them into force, and it means people are arrested, they're interrogated, their freedom is taken away. Pivey has faced a 6-year court battle to get to this point. Graham undoubtedly is in their crosshairs for more action in the future, which means that really we just don't know, as we say, that the extent of the chilling effect is enormous in Europe, and exporting that globally via EU digital regulation it should be a real concern for this committee. And indeed it is, thanks to your investigations.
So a recent report by the House Judiciary Committee shows evidence that the person in charge of enforcing the Digital Services Act was also concerned about enforcement of the DMA, the Digital Markets Act. Should we be concerned that the EU regulators could be using the threat of additional fines under the DMA to compel compliance with its global censorship regime?
Certainly. One way to look at it, I think, is that you have to imagine this concentric circles, and at the center is speech. Speech is the greatest threat to the European Union at this point. Being openly able to criticize the various escalating crises in Europe is the worst thing that they can have. And at the moment, X and to a growing extent, Meta, where that conversation is being had, They will use other forms of weapon outside of that to attack companies that allow it. There is a huge amount of regulation over the last 10 years that they've introduced, including the Digital Markets Act, the General Data Protection Regulation, GDPR, and it's growing all the time. So if they don't start an investigation under the Digital Services Act, they have other options. But I think at the core of this is an antipathy and hatred of free speech, which they want to globalize in order to protect their power in Europe.
Thank you, Chairman. I yield back.
There's 120 million reasons why DMA is a concern to America. I mean, we know what's going on.
Mr. Chairman,